This is Algebra 1, our first Zoom lesson. We're on 9-6. Today's date is Thursday, March 19th, so 3/19, 2020. Our objective today, who wants to do it? And I guess I can give, if you raise your, I think the easiest way to do this is if you just raise your hand in the video, then I can call on you. Although I can only see 5 people's video at a time. Eamon, go for it.
Factor quadratic trinomials with a leading coefficient of 1.
Yeah, so that's a mouthful, but again, quadratic means I have something with an x squared in it, so I could have 7x squared or 9x squared, but not any of those numbers because that leading coefficient, the number in front of the x squared term, needs to be 1. So I'm basically saying my first term is 1x squared. If your leading term is 1x squared, you're ready to go. All right, so factoring in 2 steps. Another quiet raised hand. What was our 0th step? And this is all the way back from 9-5, which was before the benchmark, so it's like been a week now. The 0th step, what was that? Yeah, go for it.
Wouldn't it be like factoring out the GCF?
Yeah, there it is. So we'll write out factor out the GCF. And then what about step number 2 with a quiet raised hand? And again, this was on our notes from 9-5 if you just want to take a look at 9-5. Oh man, my internet's so slow that if I change to look at the other 5 cameras in class, it takes like 2 minutes to load. Okay, no one?
No, I have it.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Is it Ninja Star?
It is Ninja Star, yep. That means that we are learning the second step today. 9-5 was the first step, 9-6 today is the second step, and that's only a half lie. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow on Friday why I'm kind of lying to you. All right, so this is distribution. Remember factoring, the definition of factoring is it's going backwards with distribution. So when I multiply these 2 binomials, I'm gonna FOIL this out. So FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, last, and it is represented by this symbol. So first means 2x times x. And I think it's just faster if we shout this out. I know that it's going to be kind of chaos, but until I get faster internet, I can't really see you guys. So 2x times x is?
X squared.
Oh, nice. Lots of people got 2x squared. I don't know why I wrote cube. Okay, and then I do outer. So 2x times -5. Shout it out.
Negative 10.
Negative 10. Yeah.
Okay, and then we're going to do inner. So 3 times x.
3x.
And 3 times -5.
Negative 15.
Perfect. Then we have some like terms in here. I'll underline them for you. These are going to be like terms always when you're filling out binomials like this. You're filling out linear binomials, I suppose. So I'll rewrite the 2x squared. I'll rewrite the -15. But what does -10x and 3x add up to?
Negative 7x.
Yeah.
Cool. So we have our final answer. So again, our purpose today is to be able to go backwards from this. Fortunately for us, we don't have to worry about the 2. The 2 is kind of ignored in this case. It's just the real. So I'm going to undo what just happened right there. All right, so our Ninja Star, how do we use it? And by the way, the word Ninja Star, the only reason I'm using that is because my first year teaching at Lee Vining, a bunch of students came from elementary school saying, oh, we call that the Ninja Star. So I'm assuming that you guys have seen this at least in some form or another called Ninja Star. And if not, I can call it something else too. But this symbol right here looks like a Ninja Star or an X or whatever you want to call it. Sounds cooler if I call it a Ninja Star.
Hurricane.
So if I have a trinomial, does anyone remember what trinomial means again?
The 3 terms.
3, yeah.
3 terms.
3 times.
Yeah, so if I have 3 terms and the leading coefficient is just x squared, not 2x squared, not 3x squared, but exactly just x squared. I guess that is the coefficient. The leading coefficient is 1, so I have something of the form like x squared dot dot dot. If the leading coefficient is 1, so I have just x squared to begin with, then I can use the Ninja Star. If I see 2x squared, you cannot use Ninja Star. It'll mess you up.
So, Mr. Sindel, I have a question.
Yeah.
So if the coefficient is the number in front of the variable to the power, right? That's
Yes.
our vocabulary.
Yes.
So if it was like x to the power of 4, but the coefficient was 1, you could use Ninja Star.
I guess I should have been more specific because I said so in my objective. It needs to be a quadratic also. So I'll say,
Oh, okay.
C, it needs to be quadratic.
Okay.
Yeah, good catch. You should log that because I think that's an error on my part. I should have said a quadratic trinomial with a leading coefficient.
Okay. I will.
All right, so let me give you guys a problem. This is the general form. So if I have x squared, let's do plus 7x plus 12. Kind of making up some numbers here. If I have x squared plus 7x plus 12, how are we going to undo what's happening here? Well, I put the c term on the top. So I come back up here and I say, okay, there's the c term. The c term is 12. That c term is going to go on top. So I'm going to put 12 on the top. And then I put the b term on the bottom. I'm on step 2 right now.
Yeah.
So that means 7 is going to go on the bottom.
Wait, wouldn't it be 7x?
So remember that b is just the coefficient. It's not, this whole thing is not b, it's just the coefficient.
Okay. That makes sense.
So did you just make up numbers?
This equation right here, I just made up. Yeah, that came out from nowhere. And I'm giving you guys extra time than I normally would because there's like words and stuff to write down, numbers 1, 2, and 3, that I'm sure the majority of us have to write down now that we don't have printed out notes. All right, so now we're going to be doing step 3. And this is kind of the hardest part of factoring using the Ninja Star. I'm going to have to find 2 numbers, and the 2 numbers that I find are going to go here and here to the left and to the right of the Ninja Star. Those 2 numbers need to multiply to the top and add to the bottom. So if you want, you can add a little multiply symbol on the top and a little plus sign on the bottom to say, hey, what 2 things add to 12 and also add to 7?
Oh.
I'll say that again. What 2 numbers multiply to 12 is your first step. And secondly, to check if those are the correct numbers, they have to also add to 7. So your first step is, okay, what are the multiples of 12? Say 1 and 12. And here's something that's incorrect that you're not going to write down. If I said 1 and 12, well, 1 times 12 is 12, so that works. But 1 plus 12 is 13, so it's not 1 and 12. Okay, let's guess again. 2 times 6 is 12, so that works. But 2 plus 6 is 8. So 2 and 6 are not the answer. And then finally, I can think, okay, well, 3 and 4 is the last one that I have. 3 times 4 is 12. Oh, and check it out. 3 times 4 also adds 7. The answer is 3 and 4 were the 2 numbers that I was really trying to find.
Oh, okay.
But again, your first step is what 2 things multiply to 12. Write them down, and if they don't work, you can cross them off or erase it or do something. But eventually we'll get so good at these that you'll just like write it down the first time because you can do all the math in your head. So you're going to be seeing lots and lots and lots. In fact, when I learned this in 7th grade, and in my 7th grade class, we had, you know, those speed sheets that you used to have for multiplication? We had speed sheets where we had just like 100 of these Ninja Star problems, where we just did Ninja Star, Ninja Star, Ninja Star, Ninja Star to get really good at factoring.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Make a worksheet for you guys too, because I think that's the best way. It's lots of fun. Okay, so we have our answer. What do we do with it? Well, we have to turn it into the correct form. We have to turn it into something that looks like this up here. So I have to have, it's always going to be x and x to begin with. And then it's going to be plus or maybe sometimes minus. If this was a negative 3, then I would be putting a minus sign here. But these are both positives. There's a positive 3 and a positive 4, which means that the sign that goes in between should be a positive. So both of them are positive. So I have a positive 3 and a positive 4, which is the same thing as x plus 3 times x plus 4. Or I could have switched these two. It's also x plus 4 times x plus 3. You can interchange these. It's okay to switch. Because that's the multiplicative property of communication. Something like that. No,
But so,
there.
why would you want to switch them so that it'd be easier to distribute and do
So
what's
there are two answers to
first?
this problem. The answer is x plus 3 times x plus 4, and the other answer is x plus 4 times x plus 3. Either of those are going to be okay. I just switched them, and they're the same answer.
Oh, okay.
That's the commutative property of multiplication. That was my final step 4. I wrote it in the correct form, and then I would box my answer. That's the final answer. We have undone the multiplication when we're having a binomial.
So the 12 and 7 come from like multiplying and adding the 3 and 4?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you can check your work too, because you know how to go forward. You can FOIL this guy out again. So if I FOILed it out, you should get the same answer as x squared plus 7x, x squared plus 7x plus 12.
Okay.
Oh, but you just like simplifying it with the ninja star a little more.
It depends on what you mean by simplify, because sometimes factoring means it looks simpler, but sometimes multiplying out looks simpler.
Okay.
Yeah. And please let me know if you want more time, because otherwise I'm moving on to brand new stuff. So if you have anything on the screen that you need to copy down, just let me know and say I need more time. No? Okay. Let's try a few examples.
So it has to start with 1x squared.
It has to start with x squared for all of today's lesson. In tomorrow's lesson, I'm going to give you things that are like 2x squared, 5x squared, 6x squared, stuff like that.
Okay.
Baby steps, baby steps. All right, so I see that I have a quadratic polynomial. It's a quadratic trinomial and has a leading coefficient of 1. I am allowed to use ninja star. So the first thing I'm going to write is ninja star. I need some help with this one. And I'm going to pause here for a little bit so you guys can copy down all of example 1 and all of example 2.
Mr. Sindel, I'm done with the first example.
Wyatt.
No. Like, I'm ready to solve if nobody else wants
I
to.
want to solve.
Okay, that's really good. I'm going to give more time to copy that down because I don't want to go too fast. I know that it kind of infuriates people that are really fast at writing it down, but I need to go this speed.
And
Mr. Sindel,
Yes.
the equations are always going to have to start with an x squared, right?
Yes.
Or an x.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And then the equation we wrote up there, the x plus 3, x plus 4, it doesn't have to be x squared. It's just as long as it's an x.
It has to be just.
Not like,
Yeah, because if we accidentally put x squared here or x squared here, when I multiply these two together in my first step of FOILing, f stands for first, then x squared times x squared is x to the power of 4, and I didn't start with x to the power of 4, I started with x to the power squared.
okay.
Or x squared. All right.
And so you could never have like 2 or anything.
Say again?
You could never have 2x or 3x or anything.
You can, but not for today. I'm just doing the basic version. All right. So,
Sindel,
yes, Jade.
if it's a negative, would you write the negative symbol?
Exactly, yeah. So if you get a negative 3 here, you do a negative 3 right there. All right, let's do example number 1. Like I put 6 and 5 somewhere. Anyone remember where they go?
Yeah, I do.
Go for it.
Oh yeah, I did too. Well, yeah, I
On
remember.
the top or the bottom?
5 is gonna go on the top, right?
There?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then 6 is gonna go on the bottom.
Okay. And then am I adding to 6 or multiplying to 6?
You're multiplying to 6.
So it's only cool if you do it that way. The way that I was teaching was backwards, but as long as you know to multiply to 6 and add to 5, I don't really care what goes in the top and bottom. Just to be consistent though, up above, I was multiplying to 12. I put the C term on the top. So I'm going to do the same thing. So Emma, like that works and it's 100% correct. It's just going to be a slightly different form. So I'm going to put the 6 on the top,
Okay.
5 on the bottom, and do a plus and a times. As long as you know whatever is being multiplied together gets to 6 and adds to 5, 100% good. All right, and then what two numbers multiply to 6 and also add to 5? You guys can shout that one out.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's your question?
Would you keep the negative?
Yes, you do keep the negative. So for example 2,
Okay.
you'll have a
It
minus.
would be negative 15.
Yes, also, yeah. When you set up the Ninja Star, you should have a negative
Okay.
on top. Cool, and then we have our answer. So it's x and a positive 2 and an x with a positive 3. My x got really curly there, didn't it? X with a positive 3. And we're done.
Mr. Sindel.
Is this what we're gonna type into Khan Academy? Is the
Type this in exactly, yeah. X, the quantity of x
Yeah.
plus 3 times the quantity of x plus 3. Yeah, what?
Oh, I forgot to do that.
Can I do example number 2?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Oh, I was about to ask that.
Too late.
What's the next one with a negative? Can I do example 3?
Sure. All right, White.
Example 3 is really hard.
Still want to do it.
White, go for it.
Okay, so on the top is going to be negative 15 because that's your C. And on the bottom is going to be 2. Now, to get this on the left side, I got negative 3 of the Ninja Star. And on the right side is a positive 5. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. And negative 3 plus 5 is 2.
There it is, yeah. And can you write out our final answer, White?
Yes. In parentheses, x minus 3. And then in another parentheses times x plus 5.
Done. There it is.
And for this one, even though there's different symbols, the order still doesn't matter.
Order does not matter. I could have done x plus 5 times x minus 3. Same answer.
Okay.
And Khan Academy will consider both of those correct.
Okay.
Cool. And then we have example 2 up on the screen, and I'll show you example 3 and 4 in case you want to move ahead. And of course, you guys can just click on the notes that are up on the website, and you can go way far ahead. You don't have to only be restricted to what I have up here on the screen. Cool. I'm assigning the homework now on Khan Academy while people are copying it down too. So it's going to be due Friday at 8 in the morning. And we have that one at 8:01 in the morning. All right, so if you finish all of example 3, 4, and 5, you may begin on Khan Academy. Example 1 and 2 were like the first assignment, and example 3, 4, and 5 are like the second assignment.
Oh,
Okay.
that's hard.
Does anyone still need to see example number 2, or can I move to example 3?
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh. This is so hard.
Yeah, it is very
Example
hard.
number 3 is this.
Oh,
Look
wait.
at the first step.
Negative.
What is your first step? You always,
Oh.
always, always check.
Factor out the DCF.
Factor out the greatest common factor. So if I come down here to example number 3, what
Oh,
is
yeah,
the
'cause you
common
can't Ninja
factor
Star.
of all of these? Because yeah, we're not allowed. We do not have permission to Ninja Star this one yet.
Yeah.
Oh.
A 1. So you basically
Oh.
gave me the greatest common factor, didn't I?
Oh.
So the greatest common factor for 2, 20, and 48 is 2. And the greatest common factor for the powers, well, this doesn't have an x, so I can't pull out an x. So the greatest common factor is just 2. What happens if I factor out the 2? What are the 3 terms that are left inside? Can you guys shout that out? Shout out.
X squared. Minus 10. X.
Plus
Plus.
24.
24.
Yeah, 24.
wait. So why did that for that one? Why did we subtract?
For example 3, why is there a minus sign?
Oh, so like we only subtract if there's a subtract right there,
Yeah,
right?
we're just copying down the signs that were in between it. We don't have to do anything fancy. Although example 4, we're gonna have to change all the signs, and you'll see why in a second. But yeah, generally speaking, you just
Oh,
copy
because you distribute the negative.
positive, it's a positive. If I had a minus sign, copy down the minus sign. If I have a plus sign, copy down the plus sign. Yeah, good question, Emma.
Wait, Mr. Sindel,
Yeah, Esha.
can you explain to me how they got negative 10 and 24? Because I remember doing that, but I forget how
Yeah.
they got those.
Do you understand why 2 is the greatest common factor of these 3 terms?
Yeah, and I understand how you got x squared, but not 10 or 24.
Okay, can you explain how we got x squared?
Well, you took the 2 out of the x squared, and you basically undistributed it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what we're doing for all these. Another word that you can use for undistribute is divide. We divided 2 by 2 and we got 1 and we didn't write the 1. So now we're taking negative 20 divided by 2 and we get negative 10. We took 48, positive 48, divided by 2, which is positive 24.
Okay.
Mr.
That makes
Sindel,
sense.
I don't understand 24 and negative 10. It's so hard.
24 and, oh. So again, the
I
first
can't
step
do
is
it.
what are the factors of 24? 1 and 24. And then you just keep going through your list. So let's go ahead and set up our Ninja Star. Whenever I write my answer, 2 needs to be in that answer. The most common mistake, for example, 3 and 4 and 5, is forgetting that term that we first factored out. We're forgetting to rewrite the greatest common factor. So I'm going to do my Ninja Star off to the right here. I'll set it up for you guys. 24 and negative 10. Again, I'm adding to 10 and multiplying to 24. And the first thing I need to be asking myself when I have this problem is what times what is 24? And then check, is that what times what adding up to negative 10? So here I go. 1 and 24. Doesn't work. I always start at the easiest level because most people forget the easiest one. 1 and 24 doesn't work. And in fact, I realize they need to add up to a negative, which means I need to have at least 1 negative. But if I have at least 1 negative, a negative times what is a positive? They both need to be negative.
Okay. Yeah.
What
Wait,
about
No.
two?
Wait.
What about 2 and 12?
Ooh,
Oh,
so
wait.
12
Oh, they
would
both
give
need to
us
be negative.
negative 14.
Oh, I got it.
12
I got it.
14.
Yeah, I got it.
I got it too.
Oh,
So negative what and negative what? I know that 4 people said that they had it. Maybe I was the 4th, I don't know. Yeah, sure, you wanna go for it? Oh, did you get the answer here?
No.
Oh, I thought that was your voice. I was just totally going.
That's Esha.
Asha, yeah, Asha, go for it.
I got negative 6 and negative 4.
There it is. Yeah, 6 and 4 add to 10. So negative 6 and negative 4 add to negative 10. And then negative times negative is positive. 6 times 4 is positive 24. So those are our answers. So when I write my answer, this is the key step. I need to rewrite the 2. And then this quadratic trinomial now gets factored as the product of 2 binomials. So I have x minus 6 times the quantity of x minus 4. And there's our final answer.
Why wouldn't you put the 2 in front of the x minus 4 as well?
So remember, everything is being multiplied together. So saying 2 is being multiplied by this first, or 2 is multiplied by that first, it doesn't matter. I could have rewritten this as x minus 6 times 2 times x minus 4. It doesn't matter the order in which things are multiplied, but they're all squished together in the same, I don't know,
Okay,
Mr. Sindel?
Yeah.
Does the coefficient have to be exactly a positive 1?
Yeah.
It has to be 1 for the coefficient for today's lesson.
Positive 1?
It has to be positive.
Positive?
If it's not
Okay.
positive 1, you need to get rid of that negative somehow, and you're seeing example 4 already. Our class ends in 6 minutes. I will say this: we have 2 homework assignments, and if that feels too much, the first question I'm going to ask in the poll tomorrow is, was the homework too much? Because I know we only have 40 minutes in class, and It goes a little bit slower now that everyone has to copy down more stuff. So if it's too much, I'll slow down the pace.
So the poll should come up on here then? Is that how everyone else got the poll the first time?
Yeah.
It'll just pop up.
That's right. And if the poll doesn't work, you can just use the chat. It'll be fine. I just need some quick way of figuring out if you guys are being under too much pressure for the homework. All right, for example, number 4, it looks like I'm ready to go. Look, there's no number in front of the x squared, so I should just be able to use Ninja Star. No, it doesn't work. In fact, if you try to use Ninja Star and then you say, oh, I got an answer, multiply your answer and check your work, you won't get it right unless you get really
Yeah, you can't do it.
I need to get rid of the -1, so I am going to factor out a -1. So if I divide each of these terms by -1, essentially that's the same thing as switch the signs. This used to be a negative, now it's a positive. This used to be a positive 5x, now it's a negative 5x. This used to be a positive 14 or plus 14, now it's a minus 14. And now I have met the conditions to use Ninja Star because this is just a positive 1 for the coefficient of this quadratic trinomial. From here, we're going to Ninja Star. What goes on the top, what goes on the bottom?
I know.
14, -14, and -5.
-14, then -5, exactly. All right, so I'm going through the factors of 14. 1 and 14, that doesn't seem to get to 5. 2 and 7. Ooh, 2 and 7 seem like somehow they would get 5 if I have the right sign. So I'm gonna write down 2 and 7. I'm pretty sure that's the answer, but I need to figure out which one is negative and which one is positive. So if I add them together, they should add up to a negative. That means the bigger number should be a negative. So -7. And I'm checking a negative times a positive is a negative, and then adding them together is -5. Okay, that works. And then I write down my answer. Again, don't forget to write your greatest common factor out front. This is going to be x plus 2 times the quantity of x minus 7. Final answer locks it.
Wait, so Mr. Sindel, why do we have to put the coefficient of -1 in front?
So we always have to rewrite our greatest common factor. If I didn't write that -1 just like that, I have now, this is not the same problem. This is not the same thing as this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm going to let you guys do example 5 on your own. I'm going to silently write it up here. If you want to see a hint, I guess you can look up at your screens, but maybe you should just be like staring down at your notes, trying to do it as much as you can. If you need a hint, you can look up your screen. We have 2.5 minutes left of class. Here you go. Again, try this all on your own.
What the?
And then when you're done, you get homework.
Yeah, you can begin the homework.